Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Man, my auntie passed last night. This is a sad life. I'm trying to get my cash.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. I am back with some cosmic information. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But today we're going to be talking about the prophetic anomalies that's taking place on the planet that's orchestrated by the Galactic Federation and the wrath of Anu that basically decimates the magneto-hydrodynamic photon holographic Vedic simulation of reality that's engineered by coronal mass ejections that produce gamma radiation, the God frequency, which is the precursor to the inception point of the endgame prophecy, right? So first, we're going to start out with a publication. So first, we're going to start out with this publication right here. And it says verbatim that a piece of the sun is broken off, a vortex. So you got to go back to that last video I put out talking about the light code transmission. Because, you know, when you have that interstellar vortex portal, that is a fourth dimensional energy comes in, right? So that open vortex is the personification of the fact that the UV radiation light spectrum, when it speeds up in vibration, it basically dematerializes everything in the three-dimensional paradigm, which activates the seismic activity on the planet that creates earthquakes. Now, the earthquakes basically create a cymatic frequency that activates volcanic activity, because the volcanoes are basically the pimples of planet Earth that's ready to pop, right? So when you have a cymatic frequency of volcanic activity, that basically causes a transmigrational shift on the planet when you're talking about these polar ice caps that's going to melt. And the polar ice caps, that is the precursor to tsunamis, cyclones, and hurricanes, right? So that is basically the cycle of nature when it's going through a revitalization process. So when you're talking about Revelation chapter 21, verse 1, new heaven and new earth, right? Because the new earth is based on the fact that everything happens in cycles, right? So like I said, this vortex, this energy, you know what I'm saying? This energy is going to cause volcanic eruptions. This is why you had that earthquake in Turkey, right? Because that earthquake in Turkey, you know, when it killed like 21,000 people, that is the fourth dimensional energy that's coming in, right? So this is a vortex, the open vortex that I was telling you about, when it opens up every 10-year increments from 2003, 2013, 2023, right? So this is the energy that's coming in. Let me see. This is all the fourth dimensional energy is coming in. And the reason I say that is because you see the mothership Nibiru is basically terraforming the atmosphere, right? It says right here verbatim, a mothership, it says a mothership bigger than planet Earth is coming out of the sun, right? And I'm going to show you a video of that right now. Because this is all, you know, non-ether intrinsic solar radiation transmission that's hitting the planet, right? So I'm going to show you this video. Now, if you look closely right here at the bottom, you see this spiral of a backwards 9, because that is an activation of non-ether genetical properties. Because when you have intrinsic solar radiation amalgamating with the carbon body, that creates Holy Ghost particles, right? That activates the God mind, right? It basically causes a reconfiguration of your genetical sequence, putting it right back in balance. I'm going to show you a video of that also, on how the sun basically terraforms the molecular structure of the people who have carbonated genetics, to where it can go back and tap into those metaphysical properties. You see the spiral of a 9 right there at the bottom of the bottom of the left. 9 ether. So these colossal these colossal coronal mass ejections, this is the fourth dimensional energy, right? That's basically going to decimate everything in the three-dimensional paradigm, because nature must take back the planet. The laws of nature supersedes the laws of mankind, and nature is galvanized by the frequency of the sun that's being activated by a planet Nibiru, or the mothership. This is why you had that earthquake in Turkey. So this is the wrath of Anu, right? Who is Elion Elion El. So this is this sun activity, like I said, this is non-ether genetical properties, right? All non-ether. So like I said, it has the ability to create many different mechanisms of calamity on the planet. There's going to be a lot of afflictions that's going to be taking place, because you had that earthquake in Turkey. That is just the inception point of what is to come when you have that open vortex that's going to open up in March, when you have Pluto in Aquarius, like I've been telling y'all, right? So what you're looking at right now, you're looking at a visual aid of how you're going to have a lot of flooding that's going to take place, right? Because nature must take back the planet. So when you have a planetary shift on the planet, that causes a metaphysical metamorphosis, right? When it comes to nature, because it speeds up the Fibonacci sequence, because the magnetic field of the planet is basically being dematerialized by the solar radiation, because the ozone layer is being depleted, right? So look at all these buildings, you know what I'm saying? There's waves that's coming, you know what I'm saying? It's 4 or 5 times bigger, you know, than the buildings in New York and Chicago and things of that nature. So that's why they've been showing you, the CIA, they've been putting out that publication telling you about the future of the United States map, right? So like I said, all that stuff is being activated by the energy in the sun, because like I told you, the sun has the ability to causes a reconfiguration of the DNA sequence, right? To activate and unravel that junk DNA, right? So that solar flare that basically broke off, that vortex, that is going to be the energy to the precursor of the Great Awakening, a mass Great Awakening. That is going to be the precursor to everything as far as the planet being in a state of desolation. So what you're looking at right now, I'm showing you how heat has the ability to cause a memory effect, because your memory, as far as your biological structure, is connected to the neural synapses, and the neural synapses, it basically reconfigures the body back into its natural state, right? So this is what is happening right here. So when you put all these intrinsic metals, and they already had like a some type of form already way before you bent it out of place, what the intrinsic heat is able to do is able to reconfigure that form back into its original balance based upon the frequency of the heat. So this is what's happening to your DNA sequence, you know what I'm saying, as you have these solar flares coming on the planet. You're going back into the original balance. So this is where you're going to get all your metaphysical abilities from, right? Psychometry, clairvoyance, intuition. The same thing is happening to these metals, is because every element in the periodic table is inside your molecular structure, right? You have intrinsic metals inside your body as well. So what's going to happen is, when you have that sun amalgamating with the body, the carbon body, that is going to be the personification of the Christ consciousness, right? So that is what you call the activation of the sun heat genes. And the sun heat genes basically is amalgamating with the ether of the sun through atomic fusion, which causes prominences. And the prominences is basically an antenna called graduation that connects you to the space-time continuum, right? So this is why I'm showing you, you got to get this book right here called Non-Knowledge, because the non-knowledge is based upon the non-ether that connects you to everything on the planet, right? Connecting you everything to nature. So I forgot the yeah, this is what I meant to show you. So everything that's taking place on the planet right now, you got these energies, you know what I'm saying, like the planet being in a state of desolation. When you have these UFOs in our atmosphere, they're basically terraforming the sleep spell that keeps us acclimated to the electromagnetic, false electromagnetic energy that's connected to the fermented dome that we're living in. So when you see these UFOs and these unidentified objects, they're basically terraforming the atmosphere back into its original state to where it opens up the ozone layer to where these new energies can come in. So this is the UFO that was over Turkey days before the earthquake started to take place.
Смотри, в этом доме тоже свет погас.
So like that's what's going on. You having a terraforming of the atmosphere, right? They're terraforming the atmosphere. That's where you have all these, you know, these calamities that's going to be taking place. And like I said, the mothership Nibiru, activated by Anu, right? Who is Theos, who is the personification of Thanos. Theos and Thanos is basically the same thing because the Most High's name is actually Anu. We're going to get into that in a little bit. So like I said, you have where is it at? So you know, these energies and these frequencies is basically having these animals, you know, causing a malfunction, because you got to pay attention to nature. If you want to know anything about that's going to be taking place as far as calamity, you got to pay attention to the animals and you got to pay attention to the military, because you can tell what's going to happen based upon the unnormal activity of the military that's in your city. If the military is going out, they're trying to recruit people and stuff like that, you already know something's about to happen. Just pay attention to the military in your city and pay attention to the animals, and that's how you can have a sense of decipherment of what is to come in the future. This is in Japan. All these crows out here. This is all being caused by the energy of the sun, that vortex, that piece of the sun that broke off, right? Those frequencies, that ether. You know what I'm saying? Everything is waking up on the planet, right? You got to go back and look at that light code transmission video that I put out, right? This also was over Turkey not too long ago. You had a UFO, because I told you got to look at the UFO video that I put out on my page somewhere, because the UFOs are able to cloak themselves by going into fourth octave ether, right? Because they basically absorb and extract energy from the electromagnetic field, and they use technology, the energy of technology, to cloak themselves. So that's why you cannot see a lot of these, you know, unidentified objects in this in our atmosphere, because the cloaking technology is based on the fact that they can steal and usurp energy from the three-dimensional paradigm. So they operating on on a different gravitational field, basically. That's why you can't see them. So this was over Turkey. That was over Turkey. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, they're terraforming certain geographical land masses to bring about this calamity. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about the Galactic Federation, right? And then you also had, you know, this Christ statue in Brazil got struck by lightning, right? Because everything, like I said, that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm, that's connected to false spirituality. When you talk about monotheistic religion, all these things basically kept the planet under the sleep spell. So when you have UFOs in our atmosphere, it basically dematerializes everything in the three-dimensional paradigm to basically subjugate the sleep spell. So that energy from the sun, those frequency, that fourth-dimensional energy is basically going to reconfigure everything on the planet. So this is why religion got to go. You see what I'm saying? So this is why you having all these lightning strikes and things of that nature in Turkey. Not Turkey, but in Mecca. This is in Mecca. You know what I'm saying? All these things is galvanized by the Saturn moon matrix. And Saturn is connected to the hexahedron cube of Saturn that produces subatomic particles that are cube shaped. So everything that was connected to the holographic photon illusion has to go. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. So now, that's what we're going to get into. I need to pull up this video. I got to find it. I forgot to upload it. So bear with me. Because all these things is going to connect the dots. You know what I'm saying? Okay. We can go to BitChute. And we're going to go to Arizona Wilder. Yeah, this lady I'm going to be pulling up, she's going to be telling you about the fourth and fifth dimensional energies that's coming in, because the sun is able to expose everything under the illusion, right? And she's going to be talking about these new energies coming in and how basically they cannot withstand the fourth dimensional energies because it basically breaks down the molecular structure to where they cannot hold a human form, right? So this is the energy, you know, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen this video or seen parts of it before, but this is very important. You know what I'm saying? This is very important. So I'm going to get the video going here.
Quite horrific. But if we don't know about it, what can we do to stop it and to change it? I spoke to Arizona Wilder in Los Angeles, and this is what she had to say. Arizona, can we start at the beginning and can you tell us the story of what's happened in your life from the very start?
Okay, what I can tell you is that before I started looking,
I'm gonna put it over here on this side, the way you guys can see
into my life, back in 1989, I was starting to have flashes of things, and my life was not what it seemed to be, which is why I started looking into it. The Aryans, and the purity of the blood, and what it's all about is that the blood and the menstrual blood contains something that is important for the propagation of this race that is controlling things on this planet. They're called the Illuminati, and the Illuminati are actually run by these 13 bloodlines, which are all of the royal families in Europe and England, and they need the blood because they are, in fact, not human. They take human shape. They are reptilians, and they need the blood. The blood helps them maintain their reptilian shape, and it helps them maintain their sanity, and it helps them to live in this world because they are not from this world. But what they need is, for it to be secreted in the blood, is they need terrorization of their victims before they are killed for their blood. And they have to terrorize them to get this to come out in the blood and be secreted in the blood. They are killed at that moment as they are staring into their eyes. And not only they can't hold their shape when this happens. The human shape they cannot hold. They go back into reptilian shape as this is happening, because it's like an animalistic type of excitement. Oftentimes they will just rip into the victim and eviscerate them and start eating the flesh of this person too. And the fat from the intestinal area is highly valued, as they use it on their skin. And they will drink the blood, and the blood is highly sought after, and it goes according also to rank within these creatures.
Why it's increased since the ages?
So there are changes going on in the earth. It seems they're not able to hold their shape like they once were able.
So I'm pausing. She said they cannot hold their shape. Now, why she say that? Right? The reason she said that they can't hold their shape because the changes of the earth, we are going through these changes right now. Hold on. We are going through these changes. And these are the changes that she's talking about. These are the changes that she's talking about. So like I said, you could tell that there's a diametrical difference between this Kamala Harris and that Kamala Harris. This Joe Biden and that Joe Biden. That is not the same person. You see what I'm saying? That is obviously not the same person. This is a mask. I'm going to show you a video. Because like I said, you know, you having full disclosure right before your eyes right now. Everything that's taking place right now is all prophetic, and all the information has to come out. So look at this video. This is a mask.
Doesn't breathe and has fish gills or something weird.
Shut down, our businesses are closed, our schools were robbed of so much. And today, COVID no longer controls our lives. And 2 years ago, democracy faced its greatest threat of civil war. Today,
it's time to wake up.
Our democracy remains.
Look at her neck, man. It's time to wake up. I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Illuminati, we catching on to you. We catching on to you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time to wake up. But I'm going to keep playing this video here. Because like she said, you cannot take up on the fourth dimensional energies. Because the planet is changing.
why it's increased since the ages?
So there are changes going on in the earth. It seems they're not able to hold their shape like they once were able to. And people see them shapeshift more and more. And they need the blood to try and maintain it, to try and maintain their human form. I believe there's a time coming that because of what I've been told, when they are not going to bother having to hold that human shape as they had to before. And they want that time to come. It's been about 4,000 years ago. The reptilians.
So like I said, the reason they need the blood is because the blood, as far as especially the blood of so-called black people, it basically has the ability to create immortalized cell lines to where it sends an infinite amount of copies to the molecular structure to where the body is able to regenerate a lot quicker. So that's why they need the blood.
Arrived here and again began to take over. And they instilled themselves in different places underground in the earth, and also this one part of them, the ruling part, took over and became involved in the politics and in the religion, and started controlling through these means at that point in time. Reptilian.
That's right. So now that coincides, what she just said right there basically coincides with this video I'm going to show you, because like I said, they infiltrated politics because the political system, which is the connected to the corporate legal fiction, right? And the corporate legal fiction is predicated upon the deep state cabal, right? And the deep state cabal is being controlled by the black nobility. You got to look at that black nobility video that I put out. Because the deep state and the cabal are basically one and the same. It's the shadow government that's coming from the left, which is democracy.
Nice for 2 minutes. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of the Select Committee to investigate the weaponization of the federal government, something I have a lot of experience firsthand. I proudly served as the 52nd Secretary of Interior, and despite the deep state's repeatedly attempts to stop me, I stand before you as a duly elected member of the United States Congress and tell you that a deep state exists, and it is perhaps the strongest covert weapon the left has against the American people. There is no doubt the federal government deep state coordinates with liberal activists and uses politicians and willing media to carry their water. The deep state runs secret messaging campaigns with one goal in mind: to increase its power to censor and persuade the American people. Dark money groups funded by liberal billionaires and foreign investors funnel money to shell organizations and repeatedly attempt to destroy the American West. In many cases, they want to wipe out the American cowboy completely, remove public access to our lands, and turn Montana into a national park. They want to control our land and our lifestyle. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to submit a five-part series of investigative articles by the Capital Research Center entitled Arabella's Long War.
So like I said, everything that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm has to go. So this is why the house of cards of the political system, the house of cards of religion, all these things that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm is being dematerialized by the wrath of Anu. So y'all know y'all keep hearing me say that. Who is Anu? I'm going to pull him up. It's this guy in the background right here, but his name, his galactic name is basically Theos, which is synonymous to Thanos, right? Because they knew, that's why they put out the movie Endgame, because they knew the Endgame is predicated upon Anu, who is the head of the Anunnaki, or the Galactic Federation, right? This is who I'm talking about. Now, this is just, illustration, but, he is a so-called black man, a carbonated man who resides in the seventh dimension, right? Or he comes from the 19th planet. the 19th galaxy, in the 8th planet called Planet Rizq, right? Which is a planet that has a trinary star system. So this is what you're witnessing right now. You're witnessing that wrath of Anu, right? The wrath of Anu, or the Anunnaki, the Galactic Federation. They're basically reconfiguring everything back on the planet as the planet is going through a metamorphic shift, right? Because the shift is predicated upon calamity. The shift is predicated upon if you ain't did your shadow work yet, right? Because like I said, due to the fact that we have all these things going on, everything going on the planet right now, you know, if you haven't done your shadow work, if you are spiritually broken and mentally fractured, these new energies that's coming in, you know, you're going to face a lot of depression. You're going to face so many things because you have a connection to the three-dimensional world. So this is the time to detach. If you don't have the mental and spiritual fortitude to detach from the system, when the system falls, you're going to fall with it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to fall with the House of Cards. Everything that's going on in Turkey. You know, you're going to fall with the House of Cards when you see that's your favorite celebrity or your favorite politician, Kamala Harris and people like that. You're going to find out, you know, see these people for who they truly are. And you're gonna have an emotional connection to it, and it's basically gonna expose the fallacies of your false reality, right? So that's why it's imperative to understand that you got to tap into a certain frequency and change your mentality. Because when you change your mentality, you change your vibration. That vibration becomes magnetism to where you go right back into balance. So you gotta. That's why it tells you in the Bible. It says something like, "Come from amongst them," right? Who is them? The people I've been showing you, the deep state, you know, the people who run this system. Anything that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm, you have to deviate from it because you're going to fall when the system falls, right? So with all that being said, I appreciate you guys watching. Get this video out there. It's very important because like I said, you know, these new energies is coming in when you have Pluto in Aquarius. I keep telling y'all, stay off the airplanes. Stay off the airplanes because that energy, these colossal coronal mass ejections, it has the ability to manipulate the magnetic field. And the magnetic field is what keeps us trapped in an artificial matrix system, but the matrix system is falling, right? So when you have these airplanes that's connected to the magnetic field, it's going to cause a malfunction to where it's going to cause a lot of so-called crashes and things of that nature. Stay off the airplanes. You know, because when you're in the midst of a pole shift, you're going to have a different shift in the atmosphere. It's going to have a transmigrational shift when you're talking about the terraforming the atmosphere because you have these UFOs and everything. These UFOs are basically reconfiguring the atmosphere as well. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Get this video out there. I'll be back with another one. End of transmission.